Tommy, Chucky, Lil, and Phil. And now just imagine that they're not alive. That the bratty, sadistic tormentor of the
7 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of...
Anyone here grew up watching Nickelodeon? If so, I'm about to ruin all of your childhoods. There's the normal way to watch television, and then there's the fun, conspiratorial way to watch television. Drawing in...
Alright, they're hyping top 10 evil Nickelodeon theory. I'm ready for some creepiness, ready for some horror, and some sadness.
Saying conclusions that make you look at a show in a completely different and often much darker light. What Nick shows did you all grow up watching, by the way? Let me know in the comments. I'm your host, James, and these are the top 10 evil Nickelodeon theories that will make you question everything. We're starting off this list with an Avatar: The Last Airbender theory, the post-apocalyptic theory. This theory suggests that the fantastical world depicted in the show is actually set in a distant future,
Hey, can't wait. Anything that mess with SpongeBob icon is fair game. If you mess with an icon show like Avatar or SpongeBob, fair game, fair play. You playing fair play on the flag. Fair play. I can't lie on that.
After a devastating global catastrophe. Supporters of this theory point out various elements that hint at a post-apocalyptic setting. You often see ancient ruins and remnants of advanced technology scattered throughout the series. Submarines and tanks imply that a technologically advanced...
Here we go! First theory, it actually getting insane.
Civilization once existed, but this stuff isn't really relied on very much. A lot of the world seems much more ancient, and the scarcity of advanced machinery and the reliance on bending as a primary means of power and defense could point to the loss of that technologically advanced society. You also have a number of strange creatures in the series. Are they simply fantastical monsters, or are they mutated creatures? The consequence of radiation or genetic experimentation following the apocalypse. There also doesn't seem to be much technological progress in the thousands of years between Wan and Aang's time.
Hey, okay, so they're saying that Avatar about bending Wan in time, right? But think about this, right? Is it actually kind of possible to remember that episode? Or is it possible to think about what it's really talking about?
As the Avatar, whereas Korra's time period seemed to see like quite a leap in technological advancement, and she only came around about 70 years after Aang's story, which could mean that some sort of devastating event took place before Aang reawakened in that original series. Next on the list we have a Dark Doug fan theory. I didn't know there were enough Doug fans to create such a high volume of theories, but apparently there are, and I'm not sure what it is about this show, but it seemed to really conjure up a lot of strange ideas in these fans' minds once they grew up and started using the internet. One of these...
referring that scene gave me new chills. Did anyone else freak when you saw that? Like, did y'all ever freak when y'all actually saw Doug? Like, as a show, as an episode, did y'all freak? Or were y'all like, I thought about it, but I didn't think further about it.
Series posits that the events of the show are created by Doug. One theory is that he's just lost his mind and is hallucinating everything, and one goes that he's just a kid who writes down the events of his life in his journal, and this over-exaggerated...
What? What's that supposed to mean?
imaginative kind of way. This is why the characters have unnatural skin colors, and also explains Doug's superhero alter ego, Quailman. I also have a theory about Doug, and that it's a kid's cartoon, which also explains all of that. But you know what? You be the judge. And coming in at number 8, we have the SpongeBob 7 Deadly Sins theory. This one actually kind of works because there's not much speculation to it. It's just an interpretation of the characters and their...
No, solid theory to kick off things. Let's see if they can top that. Like, I want to know if other theories can top this one. But you're telling me that SpongeBob can top off Doug? Bro, if SpongeBob top off Doug, SpongeBob top off
personalities, so yeah, it kind of works. According to this theory, each of our favorite characters embodies one of these 7 deadly sins. So SpongeBob, our perpetually optimistic, happy-go-lucky fry cook, represents lust. He has this deep-seated desire to be liked by everyone and shows excessive love and admiration to his friends and enemies alike. Then there's Squidward, of course, the grumpy, self-absorbed neighbor who embodies the sin of wrath. He just doesn't like anybody. Patrick, a lovable yet a little...
Whoa. That's dark. Like Nickelodeon, that eagle. Nickelodeon went super dark on that one.
Dim-witted starfish symbolizes sloth. He leads this leisurely lifestyle and just is averse to exerting any form of effort. Patrick spends his days basking in idleness, lounging under a rock, and embracing just the blissful ignorance that comes with slothful contentment. And the list goes on. Each character from Mr. Krabs and his greed for money to Plankton, obviously representing envy, incredibly envious of Mr. Krabs and the success of the Krusty Krab. And then you got Sandy Cheeks and her competitive, overconfident nature representing pride. And then Gary. I think Gary is, he likes to eat a lot. I can't remember what the name for that sin is. Gluttony. That's the one. There you go. And number 7, we have Angelica's imagination. This is a Rugrats conspiracy theory, and it's pretty dark. Rugrats was great. A squad of adorable infants crawling around and going on little adventures, forming sentences and talking to each other even though they're babies. It's great. Yeah. Well, take all those characters, Tommy, Chucky, Lil, and Phil, and now just imagine that they're not alive. That the bratty, sadistic tormentor of the Rugrats, Angelica, is just imagining all of those kids. Oh, I hated Angelica growing up. The worst. That's why she's the only one, though, who can actually communicate with them.
Honestly, that one confused me. Childhood. You've been hunted. Wow. My childhood was actually hunted. Dang, you actually pulled my childhood. I'm never going to watch Rugrats the same again.
They're all just in her own brain. This depressing theory suggests that maybe Tommy was a stillborn. Jesus, and that's why his father Stu is always in the basement making toys, unable to move on in this attempt to connect with the son that he never had. And that Chucky died in a car accident with his mother, which is why his dad is such a nervous wreck all the time. As for Phil and Lil DeVille, the DeVilles never went through with pregnancy, and not knowing the gender of the child, Angelica decided to create.
Oh, that settling looks extremely. That messed up how it gets this bobbly or this crazy.
A pair of twins, one a boy and one a girl. Yeah. You know what? Just what a fun theory. Definitely how I'm going to explain the show to my kid when they sit down to watch it for the first time. The Cat Dog Nuclear Radiation Theory. Cat Dog was a children's cartoon about a cat and a dog somehow fused together like some sort of weird Chernobyl monstrosity. Well, this next theory suggests that the town of Nearburg, that the series takes place in, could have actually been exposed to high levels of nuclear radiation, kind of like Chernobyl, thus resulting in our titular cat and dog, two completely different animals becoming conjoined. It would also explain why the town looks like such crap. The buildings look like they're cobbled together from pieces of scrap metal. The streets are often mostly empty, maybe a high
Remind me when I watched that episode and noticed
percentage of the population either kicked the bucket or hauled their butts out of there, leaving only the strange freaks like Cat Dog behind to wallow in the filth. And what even is Cornelius Sunshine? Nobody knows what this guy is. We just know he's a short, green, humanoid guy with a pig's tail and a really gloomy personality. So yeah. Something happened in that town. Maybe it's just something in the water. At number 5, we have a Hey Arnold theory for you. This one about the mysterious Mr. Smith, the trench coat wearing resident of the boarding house, who never says a word to anyone and never shows his face. We find out that this guy is possibly a government agent.
Okay, I'm awfully spooked.
We never know for sure. We just know that he avoids all contact with others. So this theory suggests that perhaps Mr. Smith knew Arnold's parents, who apparently went missing on a humanitarian mission. We never find out exactly what was involved in that mission, but maybe Mr. Smith, along with Arnold's parents, were spies involved in some dangerous, secretive stuff. And Mr. Smith was tasked with keeping a watchful eye over Arnold in case anything were to go wrong. This is one of those cartoon theories that actually seems entirely possible. There's enough mystery surrounding the absence of Arnold's parents that it makes this one actually fit pretty well. Next up, we have another SpongeBob SquarePants theory. This one much darker than the last. I always wonder.
This is next level dark Nickelodeon lore.
What was in the Krabby Patty formula when I was a kid? I also wondered what the patties were made of, seeing as they're underwater and they don't have cows, and because all the aquatic animals in SpongeBob are sentient creatures, all with their own dreams and desires. It makes the idea that the patties are made out of some sort of fish kind of disturbing. I spent my time thinking about really important things as a kid, and now I'm here talking about them and getting paid for it. There are many signs that point to the Krabby Patties being made of crabs. First of all, there's the name Krabby Patty. Sure, Mr. Krabs could have named them after himself, but maybe the name is a little bit more on the nose. It also seems to
that visually gives me goosebumps. Oh, it gives me goosebumps good. If my theory is probably whale made, now y'all saying crab made. Let's see what you probably say about
very few other crabs in Bikini Bottom, as if most of them have been wrangled up for Mr. Krabs' cannibalistic business venture. Would you really, put it past this money-hungry shyster? And what about the fact that Mr. Krabs' daughter, Pearl, is a whale? That never made sense. Maybe his own offspring were the first to go, and Krabs adopted Pearl in order to fill that void that they left behind. And number 3, we have the Are You Afraid of the Dark? Pretty simple, really. This theory suggests that perhaps the Midnight Society are a group of rad 90s teenagers.
That's the kind of pause and rewind moment that gets you up in today's society, gets you up out of bed. That made you want to think, hey, what really happened? Maybe want to search it up too.
Who start and end each episode, spinning the tales that each episode is based on, are actually all dead. Ghosts caught in a purgatory of sorts, spending each night telling each other supernatural tales of horror and suspense to pass the time.
I guess they can say that, but
there aren't really any clues that point to this. Kind of just pure speculation, but it's definitely a spooky idea. I kind of like it. How awesome would it have been if M. Night Shyamalan guest directed the final episode and we find out all these teenagers were actually ghosts the entire time? I think that would have been a way more popular series even today if that was the case, I think. And at second place, we have a dark Ren and Stimpy fan theory. Now, Ren and Stimpy gets pretty dark as it is. You don't really need to add any kind of...
Alright, final theory, hype train, start. Woo-hoo! Like, start the hype train, good. The final theory, it might end your childhood for good.
Conspiratorial stuff in there. It's pretty gnarly. So this next theory, quite plausible. Again, this one is pretty simple. The premise behind this one is simply that our demented dog and cat were the subjects of animal cruelty. Maybe they had a horrible owner or just neglected and left to fend for themselves in the wild and never even had an owner to take care of them. The point is, these two are completely messed up as a result. Ren is a hot-tempered, emotionally unstable, at times violent little dog that has obviously gone through some stuff. And Stimpy is a simpleton. Not sure how else to put it. He's just not the sharpest kitten in the litter. We've also seen these two get treated in absolutely horrific ways in...
That just changed everything about that character.
In this show. As downright hilarious as Ren and Stimpy is, it gets really dark. Pretty much everyone in this world is out to get them. It's no surprise why these two are so damaged, is what I'm trying to get across here. And coming in at number 1, we have an Amanda Show theory. This one about Penelope Tate. Anyone remember the Amanda Show? It's kind of like Nickelodeon's version of Saturday Night Live, I guess. Anyway, Penelope was one of Amanda Bynes' many characters on the show, an obsessive superfan who was always going to extreme lengths to meet Amanda in person. She would hatch all sorts of schemes that would likely land someone in prison if they attempted them in real life. Penelope wasn't just Amanda's #1 fan. This is the type of person who would probably wear the skin of the person they idolize if given the opportunity, and perhaps that's exactly what happened. Maybe Penelope did finally meet Amanda. Maybe she just said the only way to truly get close to Amanda would be...
Wow. Just wow. That's twisted.
To replace her entirely.
That would kill her part 1 reaction done. Drop in the comments which one creep you out the most and hit me with suggestion for part 2. Or comment what y'all thought on this, and comment what type of theories will be in part 2. Alright, like, subscribe, hit that post notification bell, and click on one of these videos right here.